on behalf of the R&A, we're absolutely delighted to be back here at Royal St George's for the 140th Open Championship and here for the 14th time. This was, as you I'm sure all know, the first course outside of Scotland to host the championship in 1894 when J.H. Taylor won the first of his 5 titles.
We've got an excellent field for the championship, and all the players that I've spoken to at least have been consistent in their praise for the condition and the setup of the golf course. As Jim said, we do have some wind issues out there which may, dependent on wind direction, make some of the very back tees difficult to reach fairways from and so on, so we have told the players that we may move some tees up depending on wind conditions. This, of course, is the first Open Championship since Seve's death, and we have, of course, taken the opportunity to mark his passing in a number of ways this week. We have also placed a book of remembrance at the registration for all the players to sign, and all of them have done so, and some of them have chosen, in fact the majority, to write a message in that book, and that book will be passed on to Seve's family as a memento of this year's championship, of course, but more particularly of Seve's connection with the Open. We had no rainfall here to speak of between the end of February and the end of May, and whilst the playing areas, i.e. tees, fairways and greens, were obviously being irrigated to keep them going, the rough wasn't, and so the rough virtually had burnt off altogether. And I think we were looking at a prospect really at that time of having a championship with very little rough indeed. And you know, we don't. We've always said we take what nature gives us. But fortunately, I think we've had some rain, not a huge amount, but slightly above average rainfall since then, which has been sufficient to rejuvenate the golf course, frankly. And the amount of rough we have out there is pretty close to what we would like, I have to say. We don't like rough to hack out of. It's, all the players say it's enough to give them issues with flyer lies and so on. It's not as thick as it might have been, but it's good playing conditions. We're happy with it. The open courses we use have a lot of variety about them. They are, of course, all links courses. This one, I think, needs more knowing than most, because there are rather more slightly blind shots here, or indeed blind shots. The kicks you can get off the fairway, you need to know them. And once you know this golf course, I think once you hit the shot, you've got a pretty good idea if you've hit it, whether you're going to get a good bounce or not. So I think the course needs knowing. Like all the links courses, it's very wind dependent, of course, how it plays. But we've got the condition of the course here. I say we, Royal St George's, have got the condition of this course here into just where we would want it for a championship. So there's no conditioning issues. And the size of this site, I think, makes it just feel quite formidable, actually, out there. It's, there's a lot of rough ground in between the holes, and whereas at other courses, the holes are much closer together here. So it feels a more robust site to me than many others. I don't think we're going to get particularly low scoring here this week, especially with the wind up. The course is tough. And for my money, John, it's right up there with the best.
Can I just add, I think it puts demands on the players where they have to play most of the clubs in their bag, unlike some other courses, I think. And I think that the long irons in particular are going to be very important this week, and I think that's good for spectators and good for us to see how the players do that.
Very recently as within the last 3 weeks or so, the Rio Organising Committee and the City of Rio confirmed that the Reserva Uno site, which is a site quite close to the Olympic Village and quite close to the sea in the Barra area of Rio, will be the site for the Olympic golf event. And commercial negotiations are currently underway by the City of Rio to acquire that site for golf. And a golf course will be designed by an architect yet to be determined and laid out on that site for the Olympic event. In order to be in time, we need to get the architect appointed, his designs approved, and start breaking ground in 2012. In order to make the timetable for a 2015 test event of some sort at the site prior to the 2016 games. So we're set fair, I think, for a very interesting championship with the position that so many Europeans and British players now have high up the world rankings. Expectations are high. Ticket sales are strong. We're expecting big crowds. And let's see what happens. There's many subplots and stories to unfold over the next few days, I'm sure.